Emily Ladau, Demystifying Disability, What to Know, What to Say, and How to Be an Ally. Embark on an illuminating journey to understand and support disabled people in Demystifying Disability, What to Know, What to Say, and How to Be an Ally by Emily Ladau. This insightful guide offers a comprehensive look at the history and current state of civil rights advocacy for disabled people, while challenging harmful stereotypes and ableism. Expect to learn about the nuanced definitions and categories of disability, as well as person-first and identity-first language. Enhance your understanding with Ladau's do's and don'ts of disability etiquette and explore the concept of accessibility, ultimately gaining a clear vision of how to be an ally for disabled individuals.
Understanding and Supporting Disabled People. In her book, disability rights activist Emily Ladau offers an accessible guide on how non-disabled individuals can support and comprehend disabled people. She examines the history of disabled civil rights advocacy, challenges harmful stereotypes and ableism, and guides readers on the do's and don'ts of disability etiquette. Ladau highlights that changing the world takes persistence and courage, and urges society to adapt to disabled people instead of expecting them to conform. This book is a must-read for those seeking to enhance their understanding and empathy towards individuals with disabilities. Rethinking Disability Language. The Americans with Disabilities Act limits the definition of disability as an impairment that limits major life activities. This view fails to recognize disability as a natural part of human life. Ladau suggests using either person-first language, PFL, or identity-first language, IFL, when addressing disability. Euphemisms for disability, such as differently abled or handicapable, often miss the mark. In reality, these terms avoid the truth and mask the meaning of disability itself. Discrimination and Disability. In her book, Ladau examines the intersection of disability and race and acknowledges that those with white skin experience less discrimination than those who are black or marginalized. Ladau lists categories of disabilities, including chronic illness, developmental disabilities, learning and intellectual disabilities, mental health and neurological disabilities, and those affecting mobility or vision. It's important to note that disability is subjective and can be perceived as an identity to some but not to others. Ladau also discusses that some disabilities are obvious while others go unnoticed, and emphasizes that both are equally valid. The Tragic History and Promising Future of Disability Rights. Ladau's book highlights how early 20th century America saw disabled people as subhuman. The Social Security Act of 1935 provided vocational rehab and support for crippled children, but did not protect against wage discrimination. The book describes the painful oppression of the disabled community's struggles for civil rights, followed by hard-won victories. The 21st century saw the emergence of disability movements, including the independent living and disability justice movements that fight for marginalized groups. The book argues that disability provisions need to expand to include all groups, including underhoused populations and marginalized people in prisons. Access for all. In her book, the author highlights how ableism can go unnoticed and reveals that accessibility is vital for the disabled community to move freely. It includes various accommodations such as quiet rooms for overstimulation, braille materials, flexible work hours, captioning, and seating areas. The author emphasizes that providing accessibility means receiving equal treatment as everyone else. Golden Rule for Interacting with Disabled Individuals. In Ladau's book, the author emphasizes the need to follow the Golden Rule when interacting with disabled individuals. The author urges readers not to touch without permission, avoid condescending or staring, and use appropriate language. While questions are welcomed, claims of understanding are discouraged. Moreover, utilizing accessibility amenities for convenience is a no-go. Building allyship for people with disabilities. In her book, Ladau proposes the idea of allyship as a way to understand marginalized communities, particularly those with disabilities. By avoiding ableist language and giving them a platform to express themselves, we can promote the visibility of disabled people. Ladau also highlights the importance of advocating alongside them, rather than acting as a savior. Through equal compensation and recognizing our unintentionally harmful behavior, we can work towards creating a more inclusive society. Ladau ends by stressing the power of ableism and how working together can make a difference in the lives of the disabled. Passionate guidance on disability advocacy. Emily Ladau, in her book, offers a clear and heartfelt explanation of the challenges people with disabilities face, how the legal framework both helps and fails in protecting them and ways to support them politically and socially. The author adopts a reasonable and engaging tone in addressing the readers about the subject, keeping her guidance relatable and applicable.
Emily Ladau's book delivers a compassionate and approachable guide to the world of disability, equipping readers with the knowledge and tools necessary to support disabled people effectively. The key takeaways from the book include understanding different types of disabilities, the importance of person-first and identity-first language, addressing ableism in our society, and striving for accessibility and allyship. Through a combination of historical context, disability rights advocacy, and personal narratives, Ladau inspires readers to look beyond assumptions and stereotypes to foster a more inclusive and supportive environment for disabled individuals.